The Constitutional Council has today rejected all the petitions calling for a partial or total cancellation of the October 12 presidential elections in Cameroon. Plus, the price of a kilogram of cocoa beans drops from over 6,000 francs to less than 3,000 francs, this according to recent statistics.
What could cause this drop could be as a result of many buyers trying to monopolize the market.
Out of Cameroon, over 39 people die in Nigeria following a fuel tanker explosion. And in sports, we will talk cricket and football. Ladies and gentlemen, those were the headlines.
2025 presidential election, a special page in the news.
Glory Ngange has joined me in the studio with information surrounding the presidential elections. Good afternoon, Glory.
Good afternoon, Mapalazita.
Glory, you say the Constitutional Council has rejected all post-electoral petitions today.
All 8 post-electoral disputes tabled this Wednesday, October 22nd at the Constitutional Council have been rejected. The Constitutional Council declared unacceptable the petitions filed by Daniel Belolo Esono of the MPEC party and independent candidate Mba Anod Miril and Kisob Martin. Their petitions were rejected for non-compliance with the deadline and lack of quality. They had requested for the partial annulment of the October 12 presidential elections, citing irregularities in Mayomesi and other subdivisions across the country. Also, the petitions of the lone woman in the race, Patricia Tomaino Damjoya, who requested for the total annulment of the elections, has been declared inadmissible. Reasons for being failure to cite legal provisions supporting her litigations. Here now is Barrister Don Christopher Mve, candidate Tomaino Damjoya's lawyer, talking after the council's decision.
Is that of no satisfaction, because we filed a petition to the Constitutional Council, but the Constitutional Council came out with an angle of the law, section 133 of the Electoral Code, stating that the petition that was filed did not announce the readings of the law, and so therefore it cannot prosper. So I took the floor to tell the rapporteur and the Constitutional Council that it is erroneous for the court to think that way, because the law states clearly that to file a petition, you file the facts and the law, you cite the law. We had done that, and we asked them, when they saw it, they said, but we were supposed to write the law completely. We said, but that is not the spirit of the law. We are not before the Supreme Court. It is in the Supreme Court where you file a petition. You have to talk the facts, you cite the law, and then you bring down what the law says. But in this electoral law, that is not the spirit. We have cited the law, we have given the facts, and the court permitted us to go into the substantive. So we explained the irregularities, the fraud that took place, and of course, the violation of the rights of voters and Cameroonians during this election, and now asked for a total cancellation of the elections of 12 October 2025. The court said the file is irreceivable. We actually were coming out of this court not satisfied, but it is the court. It is the court of our land. They have said it, and we have to bow to the decision.
And as the Constitutional Council is expected to proclaim results of the presidential elections anytime from today, state authorities have continued taking measures to ensure calm, Glory.
Several meetings have been held and press release published amidst a tense post-electoral atmosphere across Cameroon, where widespread allegations of voter fraud, ballot manipulations, self-proclamation and irregularities have fueled public anger. Citizens in several cities, including Garoua, Chang, Douala and Yaoundé, have already staged protests demanding transparency and respect for popular vote. Members of the CPDM Permanent Divisional Delegation from Fundi have called for calm and condemned post-electoral violence during a meeting in Yaoundé this October 21, 2025. The meeting was chaired by head of the CPDM Permanent Divisional Delegation from Fundi, Minister Laurent Serge Etundi Ngwa. The session brought together senior state officials, including party officials, who who all affirmed their commitment to peace and national cohesion as the nation awaits the presidential election results. The senior divisional officer of Fundi, Emmanuel Maria Jigdeng, has called on the population not to take part in post-electoral violence that has been ongoing in some parts of the country. He was talking yesterday during an outing where he addressed inhabitants in a bid to avoid post-electoral tensions. On their part, the SDOs of Benue in the north region and Menua in the west region, as well as Wuri in the littoral regions, have issued orders banning motorcycle circulations. These instructions are to be implemented daily from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. until further notice. In Chang, motorcycles are banned on Thursday, specifically October 23, 2025. Additionally, the sale of petroleum products is also prohibited in Menua on the same day, which is the date for announcing the 2025 presidential election result. Still in the same light, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has made public a communique asking citizens to keep calm and have confidence in the institutions charged with electoral processes. The minister emphasizes that the government observes with worries are certain actions fuel tensions, manipulate the public, leading to disorder. Paul Atanganji reiterates that the government will not tolerate any insurrection attempts. The minister reminds the population that it is to this effect that about 20 protesters have been arrested after revolts that took place in Garwa, the north region, who will take part in legal proceedings in the days ahead. Zita.
Glory, you also see some traditional authorities as well as movements have also made outings calling for peace and order during this post-electoral period.
Yes, Zita, the Ngondo Initiative, a traditional assembly of Sawa people, have called on the population to reject any initiative of violence. The call was contained in a document made public yesterday, October 21st, 2025. The Ngondo and the representative of sister communities met yesterday to do an examination of the socio-political situation of the country. This meeting holds on the heels of post-electoral procedures ongoing in the country. On his part, the Paramount Chief of Boya, His Royal Majesty Chief Dr. Robert Esuka Mbela Endele, has called on the inhabitants of Boya to remain calm and peaceful after the announcement of election results on Thursday. Chief Dr. Robert Esuka, in a press release, highlights that Boya has already endured more than enough pain, tears, and lockdowns in the past 8 years, and the community should take measures to avoid similar situations. Also, the General Council of the Union for Change in 2025 has called on Cameroonian citizens to indoors indoors on Thursday, October the 23rd, 2025, as the Constitutional Council is expected to declare results of the presidential election. This was one of the resolutions of a meeting held yesterday, October 21st, 2025. The union, in a communique, begins by congratulating the population on their victory in the presidential election. The communique, co-signed by Anise Ekane and Jokam Chameni, also urged the Constitutional Council to avoid inviting rebellion by proclaiming results that reflect the ballot boxes and leaves the population to use legitimate methods to defend their victory, while urging the civil and military authorities to collaborate with the citizens and avoid provocation. Meantime, the civic movement Project C has issued an open letter to the members of the Constitutional Council urging them to uphold transparency, legality, and the Constitution. The letter emphasizes the legal requirements for transparency, citing Article 113 of the Electoral Code, which stipulates that the results of each polling station must be made public immediately after counting. Project C warns that discrepancies between documented votes at polling stations and the aggregated results submitted to the council could undermine the legitimacy of the election. The letter concludes with a moral appeal calling on the Constitutional Council to honor their oath of upholding the Constitution. Zita.
Thank you very much, Glory.
2025 presidential election that was a special page in the news.
And still to come in this newscast today is the International Stuttering Awareness Day, and we find out from medics what could cause this speech impairment.
There's no clear cause of this speech disorder, but research has shown that there's a combination that has to do with genetics.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to the 2 p.m. news on Royal FM. Today, October the 22nd, is the International Stuttering Awareness Day. It is a global healthcare event celebrated annually to spread awareness about the speech disorder. On this day, various local, national, and international organizations come together to conduct several events, media campaigns, and educational activities to raise awareness about the difficulties faced by an estimated 1% of the world's population dealing with stuttering. The theme of this year's International Stuttering Awareness Day is a diverse stuttering community meeting challenges with strength. Let's now listen to Dr. Banlon Laura, who shares some insights about stuttering.
Stuttering is also known as stammering, and this is a complex speech disorder characterized by a repetition or a prolongation of sound, syllables, or words. It is also related to interruption or blockage in speech. Truth is, there's no clear cause of this speech disorder, but research has shown that there's a combination that has to do with genetics. Maybe you inherit it from your parents, and another factor could be the neurological factor, which has to do with the brain. It's an abnormality in the development of the motor control system, in the speech control system. And we have the environmental factors. We have traumas and we have stress. There's no cure for this, but there are various ways we can manage and help those around us with speech disorder to communicate well and reduce the stuttering severity. The first way we can manage this is to go for a speech therapy. In our community, we don't really see speech disorder as a problem, and we tend to neglect it. Secondly, we have support groups in the community. We have to support these people around us by not mocking them. And lastly, we have to practice techniques. Let's try to use breathing techniques and tell them to express themselves slowly. With that, it improves their communication skills.
Still on our health page, but this time around on a feature story, the use of earphones has become prevalent, with both the young and the old folks making use of different types and variation of earphones. The convenience of earphones comes at a hidden cost. As earphones become an increasingly integral part of our daily lives, it is imperative to examine the risks and explore ways to protect our health. Ngang Nadesh caught up with a health expert who shares some insights on the subject.
The widespread use of earphones has revolutionized the way we experience sound, allowing us to tune into our favorite music, podcasts, and audiobooks anywhere, anytime. However, beneath the convenience and joy of immersive audio lies a growing concern: the potential health risks associated with prolonged earphone use. Asambe Fina is a nurse.
Noise-induced hearing loss as a result of constant using of earphones, tinnitus, which is also known as ringing ears. This is as a result of prolonged use of earphones. Even when the person is without the earphone, there is this ringing in the ear. That is tinnitus. Auditory fatigue. There is an increase in hearing sensitivity as a result of prolonged use of earphone.
Beyond the physical risks, prolonged earphone use can also have a profound impact on mental health, contributing to increased stress, anxiety, and feelings of isolation.
Noise-induced stress. As a result of the noise, it induces stress and also increases anxiety. Social isolation. Most people with earphones, they experience decrease in social interaction, contributing to feelings of loneliness and anxiety.
Notably, ear infections are a significant risk associated with earphone use, particularly if hygiene practices are poor or if earbuds are shared. Asambe Fina once again.
Another one also is ear infection. Poor hygiene, maybe the individual is using the earphone without cleaning it, exchanging earphone from one person to another could lead to build up of earwax. Posture issue. Long duration of earphone, especially in stationary positions, can lead to neck and shoulder strain.
The health expert concludes by suggesting some guidelines for safe earphone use.
Follow the 6-on-6 rule, which is you listen for 60 minutes with a volume lower than 60%, and after 60 minutes you take constant breaks and rest. Practice hygiene, cleaning of the earpod, and avoid sharing it from one person to another. And finally, make use of noise cancelling earphones.
While earphones offer a convenient way to enjoy our favorite sounds, the potential health risks associated with prolonged use cannot be ignored. Moderation and awareness are key to ensuring that our love for sound doesn't come at the cost of our health.
And on to some economic news. Statistics made public on the platform of the National Office of Cocoa and Coffee has revealed that the price of a kilogram of cocoa beans has dropped to 2,635 francs CFA compared to the start of the year when it was 6,840 francs CFA. This drop is due to two factors, notably the reduction in price and increase in production at the international level. In line with this, Fringwe Crispin caught up with an economist and now reports.
Apart from the main factors, which are decreased prices and high production rate at the international scene, Chumulu Eugene, an economist teacher, reviews
what could cause this drop could be as a result of many buyers trying to monopolize the market. When buyers monopolize the market and have only one buyer for the product, it will be very difficult for the price of the product to be influenced in one way or the other.
Moreover, the sudden drop in the price of cocoa could also come from the fact that buyers have been able to find substitute to cocoa beans. According to the expert, decrease in price may not be beneficial to those involved in the sector.
There is no benefit for a drop of this, especially to the farmers. The farmers in a country like Cameroon, they are facing or they will face a lot of problems pertaining to this drop. There will be a fall in their living standards. The national income of the country will be very low, and then the standard of living of the people will be very low.
The previous price, which used to stand at 6,840 francs CFA, was what motivated most producers, but due to the drop, many will decrease the quantity of cocoa produced yearly.
And it may be so disadvantageous to the economy. The level of employment will drop. Many people were involved and were employing themselves in this cocoa sector. And so I want to say that the government should really strategize to see how we can maintain quality and keep the prices of these products at a particular level so as to encourage farmers to continuously put their mind there and produce more of it. Many people that cleared and opened their cocoa farms, they will be discouraged and it may fall back.
Meantime, some experts have advised farmers to be cautious about investing in cocoa farming due to the potential or price drops even when prices are currently high.
Today, October the 22nd, marks exactly 37 years that Cameroon lost one of its finest musicians of his time, Zanzibar. The iconic guitarist and singer died at the age of 26 shortly after a tour in France. The exact cause of his death remains officially unconfirmed and it remains a subject of speculation. But as we always say, an artist never dies, and so Joseph Fumtim, also known as Zanzibar, lives on through his beautiful tunes. Out of Cameroon, at least 39 people have been killed in an oil tanker explosion in Nigeria's central Niger state after a vehicle skidded off the road and crashed, spilling fuel. Another 60 people with varying degrees of injuries are currently receiving treatment at a hospital. This, according to the head of the Niger State Emergency Service, Abdoulaye Baba Ara. Villagers reportedly rushed to collect fuel from the overturned tanker, which suddenly exploded, setting off a massive fire that engulfed them. At least 46 people have died in Uganda after two buses and two other vehicles crashed on a highway west of the country today. Ugandan police had earlier reported a death toll of 63, but later reduced it to 46, saying some victims found unconscious at the accident scene were still alive. Several other people were injured in the crash and are currently being treated in hospitals around Gulu. Government sources in Japan have said today that the country's new Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, is preparing an economic stimulus package that is likely to exceed last year's $92 billion to help households tackle inflation. The project of more than 13.9 trillion yen is Takaichi's first major economic initiative since the advocate of big fiscal spending took office yesterday. This move reflects a commitment to what Takaichi has called responsible, proactive fiscal policy. We talk sports just after this break. And in sports, we begin with basketball. The FIBA African Zone 4 qualifier for the 2025 Women's Basketball League has concluded, with FAB girls booking their spot in the final phase to be staged in Abidjan, that's in Cote d'Ivoire. FAB girls finished the tournament with a flawless record and beat their Cameroonian counterparts in their final game yesterday by 68 baskets to 59. The first ever International Women Cricket Week concludes today, October 22nd, across all ICC-affiliated countries. To mark the celebration, the Cameroon Cricket Federation hosted several activities over the weekend. The activities included a community sports walk, a female cricket talent detection process, and a watch party. Here now is an excerpt from an interview with one of the participants on the microphone of Biwa Brian.
Actually, I feel very excited about this event because it happens to be in October exactly, where the whole world gathered around the women to help them in the fight against breast cancer. So I think this ICC program that have been dedicated especially for women coming right on time, and I'm very excited about it. We're going to be watching New Zealand play against Pakistan, and I've not watched so far as this World Cup, ICC World Cup is concerned. I've not watched any match from Pakistan, but I've watched the New Zealand ladies play already. And I'm very optimistic because I'm actually supporting New Zealand. So I'm hoping to see a better performance coming from the side of New Zealand. Personal objective is just to grow along as the cricket in Cameroon is growing and as ICC too is growing, bringing up new programs, new technologies in cricket. I hope as a player too to grow alongside all these innovations.
Cameroon's under-17 Lionesses have complicated their chances of advancing to the knockout stage of the ongoing under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco. The team lost to North Korea 1-2 yesterday, making it 2 defeats in 2 outings, and will now face a difficult path to qualification, needing a victory against Mexico in their final group game. Ngome Michael has been following the competition and makes the following review.
2 games for the under-17 Lionesses and 2 defeats for them, despite the fact that in their second game it looked likely at some point that they will be getting a consolation point. But however, just like in the first game, things didn't turn out for them in the seeing out at least with a point, which goes further to complicate their chances of making it to the knockout stage at this competition. However, if we look at the way the girls have been operating in their first game, there's some sort of overturned a 2-0 trailing scoreline to tie the game at 3-3 against the Netherlands, who we must note that are current European champions in the under 17 Euros out there in Europe. You have to understand that the opponents, just like North Korea, to whom they lost lamely today, are equally defending champions in the FIFA World Cup in this category. So the opponents the Lionesses have been playing are not lightweight, and if you look at their performance as well, it's not discouraging at all.
In more sports news, Column Sportif of the Ja and Lobo is set to take off for Algeria tomorrow ahead of their weekend fixture with MC Algiers. Both teams are scheduled to face off on Friday for the second leg of the CAF Champions League second preliminary round after playing a 1-1 draw in Yaoundé last Sunday. Ahead of the set game, Hamidou Hamza is confident they will grab a win. He made the revelation after their first leg game on Sunday. Take a listen.
I think we are ready to go in for the fight. Well, I must say I don't really know about the Algerian supporters or maybe their attitude, but I must say with the little I've seen today, it's for them. But for us, we know what is taking us to Algeria. We know the same people like them. Yes, if we could take a qualification at Senegal, it means it's also very, very right for us to take it over Algeria.
Doreen Bimi has joined me in the studio with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Bon après-midi, Doreen.
Good afternoon, ma Palazita présidentielle 2025. Ouverture ce mercredi du contentieux post-électoral. L'assise s'est ouverte à 11h au Palais des Congrès de Yaoundé, dans la salle d'audience du Conseil constitutionnel, présidée par Clément Tangana, président du dit Conseil. Les 11 membres de la haute juridiction statuent sur les différents recours introduits. En économie, prix inflationniste du cacao Cameroun en baisse, 2639 francs CFA, pratiquement 50% en moins sur le prix préalablement annoncé entre 2023 et 2024. Sur la scène internationale, en Ouganda, 46 morts dans un accident impliquant deux autocars ce matin. Un drame qui s'est produit à hauteur du village de Kitaleba, dans le nord du pays. L'accident intervient dans un contexte de forte insécurité routière en Ouganda. En sport, tournoi zonal basketball féminin, qualificatif à la balle Basketball Africa League. FAB s'est qualifié hier face à Overdose de Yaoundé, vice-champion du Cameroun.
Marc Désespère, ce sont les chroniqueurs.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the package we put together for you on today's Royal Afternoon edition. We received technical assistance from Romuald Ekume. Brian Bida and Boris Tedongmo took care of the cameras for our social media live. Production assistants Biwa Brian. Script editing and editorial coaching Abel Bela Samari. Central coordination Roger Kiek, our station manager. And general supervision by the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For news editing and presentation, my name is Mapalazita. Thank you all for your kind attention, and do have an interesting afternoon in the company of programs over Royal FM. More news comes up at 6 p.m. with the bilingual team, but do not touch the dial. Up next is Sports Hour.